Think of it, Somalia is a third world, maybe a fourth world nation. One of the worst, one of the most dangerous. They don't have anything. They don't have councils. They don't have government. They don't have police. They shoot each other all over the place. They come here and they steal $19 billion. That's crazy. And Ilhan Omar, I hope this is part of it, but she married her brother, supposedly. I mean, there's a lot of documentation. That means she's here illegally and she's a congresswoman. And I hope you're going to be looking at that, or somebody is, all right?
Something about this financial story isn't adding up, guys.
Can you tell us what your response is to the Oversight Committee launching an investigation into your net worth, you and your husband's net worth? They're claiming that it's risen rapidly. What's your response to what they're saying?
No answer.
Do you think they'll find anything in their investigation into your net worth?
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar avoiding questions about her net worth that has risen astronomically during her time in Congress. President Trump wants answers. Writing on Truth Social, quote, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is worth over $30 million. There is no way such wealth could have been accumulated legally while being paid the salary of a politician. She should be investigated for financial and political crimes, and that investigation should start now. Saturday Night America anchor Kayleigh McEnany joins me now. It is amazing. When she started in 2019, she had a negative net worth. Her personal household net worth has gone from negative to $30 million, and her husband's Rose Lake Capital firm, a consulting firm, has gone from just dollars up to $25 million in value.
Yes. So what's interesting, you have her husband, Wynette, who started Rose Lake Capital, to your point. So Rose Lake Capital, you noted $42 and then skyrocketed to millions within a year. And these are according to public filings that she put forward, according to documents in a lawsuit.
Her own numbers.
Yes. And it caught the attention of, listen to this, not Trump's FBI, Biden's FBI. So in 2024, Biden's FBI raised questions about this skyrocketing wealth, some of these business decisions, and even Wall Street experts say, why is a former political consultant, that's what Wynette was, running a massive financial firm that, by the way, we've never heard of, and we're on Wall Street and we think we would have heard of it? A lot of questions.
Not to mention they also have a winery that has also experienced a similar, in California, by the way, that has experienced a similar explosion. Boom. Real quick, I want to play Tom Emmer, House Majority Whip, talking about this earlier this week.
Let's go.
This needs to be investigated. She was right at the center of the Somali fraudster operation called Feeding Our Future, the $250 million fraud case, largest pandemic fraud case in the country. Those are her people, and they're the ones that donated to her campaign. So Jamie Comer and the Oversight Committee are investigating this and looking into this, and this needs to be exposed.
Understand what you did, Ilhan Omar. Like when you decided to basically say this is going to be all about Somalia first, basically telling the people that have come over into our country that we're going to go ahead and put you specifically over the actual American people. Now, why would you actually say this logically? You would say this because you may want to actually use them as a vehicle to actually inflate your wealth. What do I mean by that? You're going to use their plight, whatever they actually may need, specifically based off of their community, at least, right? You're going to create some type of something where the government is going to go ahead and fund it while you pocket a gigantic quantity of it here. Understand this here. I'm an outsider looking into the scenario. Do I know that that has happened? No, but I only look at things with logic here. So when I see people 30xing their income, after they start some type of nonprofit, it's always like, two things can be true at the same time. Understand this here. She could be being directly targeted because everyone hates her. Okay. Or she's absolutely, in fact, corrupt here. But again, two things can, in fact, be true at the same exact time here.
Are they going to get to the bottom of this?
I certainly hope so. And by the way, I just note that winery you mentioned, one of the wines was called the Devil's Lie. How about that? But look, they say house ethics or house oversight.
Sometimes they tell the truth.
Sometimes they do. Yeah. And maybe they don't. We'll see. But house ethics or house oversight is going to look into it. But look, it's time. To your point, we have the House now. And I'm hopeful and bullish that maybe Republicans will overperform in the midterms. But that's not a guarantee. So now is the moment for House oversight to look into it, for the FBI to look into it, Patel's been doing a phenomenal job. I have no doubt that they are. But look, the time is ticking, especially for Congress.
And this doesn't even seem like this is even truthfully about politics any longer. Pretty much based off of all the information, all the receipts, all the comments that she has basically been making over the last couple of years here, guys. Listen, this definitely doesn't feel like politics anymore. This feels like math.
Everyone knows they've been cheating for years. It's the first ever. And it's got to be stopped. I mean, it's got to be stopped. Think of it, Somalia is a third world, maybe a fourth world nation. One of the worst, one of the most dangerous. They don't have anything. They don't have councils. They don't have government. They don't have police. They shoot each other all over the place. They come here and they steal $19 billion. It's crazy. And Ilhan Omar, I hope this is part of it, but she married her brother, supposedly. I mean, there's a lot of documentation. That means she's here illegally and she's a congresswoman. And I hope you're going to be looking at that, or somebody is, all right? Because she's one of the ringleaders here. She's bad news, really bad news. She's so bad for our country. Anyway, JD, please say a few words.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. President. This is a very important whole of government approach to tackle the fraud problem. And let me just tell one story. One of the things that even before this executive order was signed that we were able to stop under the president's leadership is we saw evidence that in Minneapolis there were Somalis, primarily illegal immigrants, who were defrauding a Medicaid program that was meant to go to autistic children. So they were taking children who were supposed to get benefits, and they were claiming that their kids were actually autistic even though they weren't. And what did this mean? This meant two things. Number one, you had a lot of people getting rich off of the fraud while American citizens got poor. And the second thing that it meant is that you had autistic kids in Minneapolis, in suburban Minneapolis, who weren't getting benefits they needed because Somali fraudsters were literally stealing out of their pocket. It's got to stop. And unfortunately, that kind of fraud is one example of probably hundreds just within the state of Minneapolis, and then it's repeated and replayed all over the United States of America. When we first started talking about this problem, the president made it very clear he wanted us to take the fraud problem seriously because nobody had until he was president. We started to figure out one big hole that existed is that the agencies of the government weren't actually talking to each other. So Treasury would have evidence of financial fraud, but wasn't talking to the Department of Justice about it. Health and Human Services had evidence of Medicaid fraud, but wasn't talking to the Department of Treasury about it. So what this executive order does is force the entire apparatus of the federal government to do two things. Stop the fraud in the American taxpayer and make sure that the benefits that ought by right go to American citizens and not to fraudsters. Andrew Ferguson will be the vice chair and is going to do a great job. If you're curious what's the difference between the vice chair and the vice chair is going to do all the work and I'm going to take all the credit.
The idea of entitlement fraud is not like a brand new thing in the United States of America. It's not even something that is like 100% indicative of blue states only. This is a thing that has the ability to happen anywhere because apparently it is super easy to pilfer from American citizens. All right. We definitely need to make that a lot harder. Okay. If Ilhan Omar, in fact, is involved in this and anyone else who's involved in it, regardless of how high this thing may go up, because obviously be aware here, it's a lot higher and bigger than Ilhan Omar. I think Ilhan Omar just currently is, I'm guessing, the face of this specifically because she came out and said that she, no matter what, basically will put Somalis ahead of Americans at any and every turn here. Her words, not ours, guys. Understand this here. If you said that and now you're involved in a gigantic wealth accumulation kind of out of nowhere, you cannot be surprised that people are starting to look a little sideways at you. And I'm definitely glad Trump is starting a fraud task force. I think that's probably the most important thing that I've heard all day. One of them, at least. Because listen, it is not a blue state problem. It is not a red state problem. It is an American problem. It is a problem where people get into politics for the sole purpose of enriching themselves rather than kind of helping the actual people who actually need the help. So good job. And I will definitely 100% back the idea of a fraud task force in the United States of America and definitely bring back Doge large scale. These two things need to definitely happen here. Again, stop the idea of government waste, specifically while there are struggling and starving Americans. Okay. If you're going to put the money somewhere, give the money to Americans.